So this summer, I'm going to be doing a series on summer meditations. Some weeks will be things that occur, in nature, in the woods, bringing some poetry in, some readings. So this morning, our opening words are from this collection of Earth Prayers. It's a famous book that came out back in the 1990s, a collection of meditations and prayers. This morning's comes from Evelyn Boomkees, who is a Dutch meditation teacher, and this is titled, "Life is Laughing in a Pebble." Clouds are flowing in the river, waves are flying in the sky. Life is laughing in a pebble, and where does the pebble go? Flowers can grow out of garbage, compost, a miracle to see. What seems dead and what seems dying makes butterflies fly and be. Life is laughing in a pebble. Flowers bathe in the morning dew. Dust is dancing in my footsteps, and I wonder who is who. Clouds are flowing in a river. Clouds are drifting in my cup of hot tea on a never-ending journey, such as we. What a miracle it is. So this morning, let us take a few moments to center, to be back in this space, to breathe, to enjoy the new chairs that we barely got a chance to use before we shut down for COVID. Just to sit in this space in silence, contemplation, to be together once again. It's nice to have the Quists back from their travels this winter, back on the corner across the street. So Kathy, would you like to come and light our chalice for us this morning? The match is right down here on the altar. And we had a chance to Zoom on coffee hours during the past year. It was so nice to have two back in Holton. The chalice lighting is from the UUA worship app. Deep calls unto deep, as joy calls unto joy, and light calls unto light. Let the kindling of this flame rekindle in us the inner light of love, peace, and joy. And as one flame that lights another does not diminish in itself, so we pledge ourselves to be bearers of a light no matter where we are or who we may be with. I thought we would sing today just one verse of 361. It's a return song. Enter, rejoice, and come in. It's a familiar one, but it's been a very long time since we've sung it. So you're going to have to get right into the song quickly because we're only singing one verse. And I'll give you a chord. Let us stand. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. tease. It's nice to be back, to be able to light candles together, to share joys and sorrows of our travels in this past 15 months. And summer is here. I'm going to light the first candle. As I was driving in this morning, I noticed rows of potatoes just coming up in the fields.
It's not too.
This narrow little rows of green rising out of it's dry soil right now. So it's a June candle, the potatoes in the county.
This is a candle of happiness. The hot weather left. Perfect. I thought we brought it here from Louisiana, but it was hotter here than at home.
Well, I'm thankful for things like the internet and Zoom, as annoying as they can be sometimes, but it kind of held us together. Those of us, you know, who were able to participate during the summer. Even Kathy and Marty, who were not even here. And yesterday evening, I participated in the national get-together of the Esperanto Association, you know, here in the United States, and so I got to, for about 2 hours, chat in Esperanto with people that some of whom I'd seen and some of whom I just met, you know, but it was awesome. So yeah, the internet is a great thing.
Going to light a silent candle. Any unspoken prayers this morning? And a candle for all that's going on in the world right now. That candle contains that. And any names you'd like to mention this morning will be contained in that candle. People to remember.
In memory of Debbie Chapman, who passed Wednesday, I believe it was.
Cricket and Corbin.
Frank.
Charles.
Tom. Geneva.
And now may the love that encircles us encircle all. May those who endure hardship find relief. May those who suffer in body or mind experience healing. May we find ways to assist and to benefit those in need, for in so doing, we benefit ourselves, them, and all. The universal is discovered in each small heart. We are one on this day. Amen, and blessed be. I selected a reading this morning, number 503. And it's a meditation. That's a Jewish prayer by Rabbi Rami M. Shapiro. Number 503. I'll read the bold, if you read the italics. Bless Adonai, who spins day into dusk.
With wisdom, watch the dawn gates open.
With understanding, let time and seasons come and go.
With awe, perceive the stars in awful order.
Morning dawns, evening darkens.
Darkness and light, yielding one together.
Yet each distinguished and unique.
Marvel at life, strive to know its ways.
Seek wisdom and truth, the gateways of life's mysteries.
Wondrous indeed is the evening twilight.
We have a piece of special music this morning. Simon Pritchard and his family came in a couple of weeks ago with Fen and I to record some music, and we ended up doing seven songs and a theme song. We almost cut an entire album while we were here. They play at the coffee house downstairs. So in this week's UU support page, you saw some photographs of the recording session, and it was Simon playing on acoustic guitar, vocals. It would be his dad, Mark Pritchett, playing bass guitar. Usually Simon's younger sister, Maddie, plays bass, and Mark is usually on guitars. And then Simon's stepmother, Rita, was on the drum kit. So this title of this song is Beautiful Love. And all 7 songs were pieces that Simon had written during COVID-19. And it really fits today's service. It's a series of meditation or devotional music in the tradition of the Psalms in the Old Testament, of singing of divine love. So we'll be talking about this type of spiritual practice in today's later service on summer meditations. The bass is a little boomy on this, so I can't turn it up very loud, but it'll give you an idea of the song.
Surrounded by the grace, yes, I fall down to you, deep in your presence, I'm made whole through you.
summer meditations is surprising occurrences. But I want to start off with reading a psalm. This is one of my favorites, Psalm number 5, talking about early morning meditation. Give ear to my words, O Lord, consider my meditation. Listen to my cry for assistance, for it is to you who I pray. Morning by morning, O Lord, you hear my voice. Morning by morning, I direct my heart to you, towards you, and wait in anticipation. You are not a God who endorses evil. With you, the wicked cannot associate, and the arrogant cannot hold your space. But by way of your great mercy, I can come close to you, and in reverence I will enter your holy temple. Lead me, O God, in your righteousness. Make straight your way before me. I will do the work. This is a book I'll be using this summer from Henry David Thoreau. It's titled The Morning Work, as a meditation manual. And this is a quote that comes out of his book Walden, where he says, "What should be our morning's work in this world?" And Thoreau talks about his getting up early in the morning, especially when he was at the pond with the cabin, and his morning routine would be sitting by the pond in this contemplative, mindful activity as the sun was coming up over the pond, lining up his chores for the day, or his appointments of who he might be seeing, and especially his journal writing as his morning work, as his meditation. So, in this book, it talks about the American transcendentalists, the tradition they had of what they call the term of self-culture. And typically, it's broken down into 5 categories of this morning work. One being contemplation, or simply spiritual reflection, solitude, meditation. 2 would be study, reading, and especially journal writing. When Thoreau first met Emerson, that first day walking in downtown Concord, Emerson asked him a question, "Have you started a journal?" And Thoreau had just graduated from Harvard, but had never heard of that discipline or practice, and started his journal that very next morning. Third point would be sauntering, which is kind of an old 19th century term of hiking. So we would call it today going for the daily walk. This would be the physical practice of being in nature, working the body and the senses. And usually Thoreau, as the older he got, the more detailed his journals got about what he would see on these sauntering jaunts around Concord. And then number 4 would be excursions, or trips outside of Concord. And Thoreau took several of these major trips, the Maine woods, to Mount Katahdin being one of them. And oftentimes books would derive from those travels. But excursions were part of that discipline. And number 5 is a term they used, conversations, which Margaret Fuller was one of the transcendentalists in Concord. And she would give, it was essentially Q&A. 18th century, they would give a short lecture on a topic and then open it up to questions, interaction with the community or the audience to explore a particular theme or a topic of interest. Kind of like a 19th century TED Talk with Q&A. So, today what I'd like to share is, American or New England transcendentalists weren't the only ones who developed these sets of practices. And when you go to different cultures in the, you'd have different settings. So one I'd like to share this morning is from the Hindu tradition. It's often called the 5 pathways of yoga, or the 5 branches of yoga. And if you listen closely, you'll see how much it shares in common with the American transcendentalist model. One is the most common form of yoga that we're familiar with today, would be hatha yoga, the physical practices. 2, karma yoga would be work practice, social action, ethical conduct, or the chores, getting the work done. And all of these practices were directed towards the divine, or this spiritual inner practice. 3 is known as bhakti, or devotional practice. And this would be an example of kind of what Simon was doing in this song today. Often music, chanting, and contemplative prayer would be aspects of devotional practice to open a person up to something larger than ourselves, to take our small world to a larger view. Number 4 is jhana, or study practice, intellectual pursuits. And 5 is Raj, R-A-J, which is meditation, or contemplative practices. And typically a devotee could select any one of those 5 to focus on, just essentially based on your personal temperament, interest, or what you were good at, or what appealed to you to pursue. And you can take any combination of these 5 practices, or select 2 out of the 5 that would develop your spiritual discipline package. And in the tradition of the devotional practice, I'll just list a few from different traditions who would have, it's called the Divine Romance. Yogananda wrote a book called The Divine Romance, where the relationship between one's spiritual practice, God, consciousness, the divine, was a relationship based on love and devotion. Rumi would be one of the great examples in the Middle East. Hafiz, the Persian poet. Kabir, the Indian mystic and poet. Krishna Das is one of the more contemporary kirtan singers. He was one of the friends of Ram Das in India. And he's come back to the United States and does goes on tour doing kirtan concerts, essentially a group singing and chanting the divine names of God or divine themes. The Hare Krishnas would be a tradition that focused, a lot of the energies and focus is on this devotional chanting as their spiritual practice. And in the Christian tradition of the Old Testament, the Psalms would be an example of writing of spiritual songs of devotion and love to the divine, that would open a person up to, open the heart to love and open the mind to emotions and intuition of connection. I'm going to read a poem from Hafiz, the 14th century Persian poet, mystic, and cosmic lover. And his 2 common themes would be laughter and love, as examples of strong spiritual practice and meditation. The title of this is, Someone Should Start Laughing. I have 1,000 brilliant lies for the question, how are you? I have 1,000 brilliant lies for the question, what is God? If you think that the truth can be known from words, if you think that the sun or the ocean can pass through that tiny opening called your mouth, oh, someone should start laughing. Someone should start wildly laughing right now. So during the course of the summer, I may share more from the American Transcendentalist model of variations of these summer meditation talks, how they apply to getting in the great outdoors, hiking it, biking it, writing poems about it, eating good food with good friends, outdoors and indoors. As these are all practices that can open us and connect us to other people, especially coming out of COVID, where there's been self-quarantining, self-distancing, isolation. Again, that's part of the solitude and the privacy of a lot of these spiritual practices, but that's only one part of it. It's balanced with community. It's balanced with celebrations, such as last week. It's balanced with seeing each other's faces in a small gathering like today. So today's title was Surprising Occurrences. So my meditation to share this morning comes from how my Friday went. 2 occurrences. Number 1, I was biking across the field, and all of a sudden I saw this shiny, black, furry flash bounding across the tall green grass. I was on my bike, so he couldn't see me, but must have sensed my bright red motion on the bike. But the grass was moving in the same shimmering, the same way that his fur was shimmering. And he was gone just like that. By the time I got closer, he was long gone into the trees. A surprising occurrence that opened me immediately, took me out of what I was thinking about riding my bike, my chores for that afternoon, to the wildness of a bear so close to our house. So that night we did take proper, we secured food around our barbecue. So, surprising occurrence number 2 was that night we had guests arriving to stay at the cabin from Pennsylvania. And they texted us when they pulled off US Route 1, just coming off onto our property. So Linda and I left the house and we walked down to the cabin to meet them. It was about 8 p.m., so it was just starting to get dark. And we waited, and they didn't show up, and we waited. And it's like, it's only half a mile to get from US Route 1 to the river. And we said, well, Linda, they couldn't have taken a wrong turn. And we waited, and then all of a sudden we saw their pickup truck coming in. And their faces were just electric. And they said, we just saw 2 moose up in the field, a mother and a young calf. And they got out with their camera gear, got some pictures, and that was how they began, their stay in northern Maine. And we were just as excited as they were to share their experience that had happened, again, less than half a mile away. The same field that the bear had just crossed hours before. And Linda hasn't really seen that many moose since we've been there. She keeps missing them. So she was also a little upset because if they had just shown up, they've been on our property for less than 2 minutes, and they saw 2 moose. And she's been there for 20 years. So this week, look around you in your everyday life, early in the morning, in the middle of the afternoon. Look for these surprising occurrences that, again, you're not really looking for. You don't know what it's going to be, but you're looking. And I think those are the types of moments that really do lock into our memory. We may not remember the date or exactly the specifics, but we'll remember the feeling or who we were with. And that memory, you don't need to have the date of that journal entry down, which I like to do. I'm a journaler. But most people you talk to, it's like, oh no, they're talking about something that happened to them 25 years ago with someone special that they never thought they would meet, and someone shows up. Or they meet someone halfway down the I-95 to Florida, they walk into a Cracker Barrel, and they run into someone they know in the same restaurant. How many times has that happened to people? So, surprising occurrences this week. And we're going to be going off mic here in a few minutes, and we could take a little time to share some of our surprising occurrences, if we'd like. But for now, let us extinguish the chalice. As we extinguish the chalice, we leave this gathered community, this time spent here today, but we do not leave our connection. We do not leave our concerns or our care for each other. Our connection continues. Online, on YouTube, on the internet, or running into each other around downtown Holton. Until we are together again, my friends, be strong, be well, look for surprising occurrences, be as true as possible, and be loving. I give to you my best today. Let's continue to share the rest of our Sunday morning together. Amen.
That's a wrap.